Good evening. Good evening. My name is John Gaduli. I'm the President and CEO of the Hamilton Community Foundation. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's program, the 10th Harry T. Wilkes Hamilton Celebrates Education Dinner and Awards. As we begin the program, we want to welcome back and recognize the recipients of the Educator of the Year honor over the past 9 years. As I introduce these outstanding educators, please help me feel welcome as they come into the room. From 2003, Robin Michael. From 2004, Nancy Bonds. The 2005 winner, Molly Mers. From 2006, Kathy Wagenfield. 2007, William Huth. 2008, Wanda Day. 2009, Carrie Tregesser Smittle. 2010, Kristen Yordy. And last year's recipient, Becky Schaefer. Looks like some of those folks were practicing those waves and entrances for a while. If I could ask everyone to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. That's just to make you feel like you're in school. We had to do that. It's really hard to believe that this is the 10th year for this event. I guess time really does fly when you're having fun and doing good work. Or maybe it's just that as you get older, time seems to go by a little faster each year. I remember about 11 years ago, Harry Wilkes and I were having a conversation about the importance of education in our community. Harry commented that our educators are so important, and yet they often don't get the recognition and appreciation they so richly deserve. As we talked, we explored ways to recognize excellent educators and encourage innovation and best practices in classrooms throughout our community. By the end of that conversation, the Harry T. Wilkes Hamilton Celebrates Education event was created. This has really been a great partnership for the foundation. The foundation has been a supporter of education for many years. We awarded our first scholarships in 1954, and still scholarships continue to be one of our largest and most important programs. Several years ago, the foundation board restated the importance of education for us and identified education as one of the foundation's major strategic goals. So as we begin this evening and reflect on the 10th anniversary of this event, I want to thank Harry Wilkes for his vision and his financial commitment, which make this event possible. I also want to thank the dedicated committee and the foundation staff for their hard work all year to make this process and tonight's program such a success. I want to recognize and thank the school administrators and school board members who are present this evening. Would those administrators and board members in the audience please stand and be recognized? But as always, though, this event is about recognizing and thanking the educators in our community. That is the purpose of the event, and it's that purpose that makes this such a success each year. There is so much good to be recognized and applauded. I really wish the efforts and successes were recognized more often, but at least tonight, we are here to say thank you. To the educators present this evening, please accept our thanks for all you do every day to help improve the quality of life in our community by teaching, guiding, and inspiring our young people. That's what we're here to celebrate. It's now my pleasure to introduce the chairperson of the Harry T. Wilkes Hamilton Celebrates Education Committee and your MC for this evening, Neil Cohen.
Thank you, John. And welcome, everybody. I'm glad to be back to do this event again this year. It's always a pleasure to see a room full of the people that I admire so much. And I think most of you who know some of my travels around the schools realize that those of us in businesses in this community also can't thank you enough, because our economy so depends on what you do every day and how you improve life in our city. So with that, I'd like to go on with our introduction tonight. In 2003, the Hamilton Community Foundation held their first Harry T. Wilkes Educator of the Year celebration. Harry, a champion of education at all levels, came to the foundation saying, "We need to show educators in the community that they are valued, and we need to show the successes of our local schools and their students." So from that idea came the underpinnings of a partnership between the Hamilton Community Foundation and Harry's advised endowment account to recognize Hamilton's educators. The best of the best have been awarded grants and scholarships for the past 9 years, leading to our 10th anniversary banquet tonight. So please recognize with me Harry T. Wilkes, the originator and benefactor of the annual Harry T. Wilkes Hamilton Celebrates Education Recognition and Celebration. Harry? Helen Keller said that the welfare of each is bound up in the welfare of all. Each of you here tonight have reached out for the benefit and welfare of our entire community. And so we begin this celebration, as we did 10 years ago, in honor of all the educators who have made a profound difference in our life. The person I'm about to introduce is a rock star. It's my pleasure to introduce to you an original. This original is Dr. Beverly Taylor, Professor of Physics at Miami University and Judging Committee Chair. She's been a judge for grants and scholarships since the inception of this program. And I don't just mean tonight. Beverly has numerous teaching distinctions and has touched thousands of teachers nationwide in the area of assessment, curriculum, and the development of curriculum materials. Her most recent work is focused on critical thinking and the success of females in science. Dr. Taylor will present to you the 2012 grant recipients. Dr. Taylor.
It's always a joy to be here on nights like this as we celebrate Hamilton's outstanding educators. And in that, I include all of you in the room, not just the people that are getting some sort of special recognition tonight. I've been privileged to serve as the chair of the judging committee for 10 years now. We have a panel of 6 judges that do this. The judges are all members of the community who have an interest and a love of education, but are not connected with the school system in any way. Of course, the Educator of the Year process starts before we start. As the schools select their nominee, they can use whatever process they would like to select someone to represent them and their excellence. By the time we get them, we get a 4-page narrative that someone in the school has prepared describing their educator. And what we get is a number. When we finish our process, we've selected number 4, number 7, number 11, number 13, and number 16. We have no idea who these people are until they come out of the newspaper, which is really kind of fun. And the judges that are sitting here tonight don't know who the winner is. They could tell you something about them, but they don't know what name that goes with that biography. We look at the criteria stated on the nomination form, which is the daily impact the student, the teacher, or the educator in some other position besides teacher has on students within the community, how they have brought innovation into the position, how they go above and beyond what's required for their job, and how they've contributed as a leader in the school or the district or sometimes in the statewide education community. The selection process the grant winners go through is much the same, except there's no selection process at the school level because the grant applications are from individual teachers, not from schools. And in this case, you know, if you've never written one of these grants, you should. What we're looking for is the same thing you'd do for any other grant application. And you got to tell us, what do you want to do? When are you going to do it? Why do you need to do it? What impact will it have on your students? And what are you going to do with the money? And is that an appropriate use of the money for the project that you want to carry out? We normally have more good projects than we can fund. So, you know, don't feel rejected if you submitted one this year and didn't get it. We don't have enough money to fund them all. So submit another one next year. Try again. We're now to the part of the program that I think for many years is the best part of the program unless you're the winner. Nothing can beat being the winner on tonight. But we have a video showing what last year's grant winners did with their grants, what their projects were, and usually we get to see some of their students. So enjoy the video.
When this idea of Mrs. Burks came about, I jumped at the chance. I thought it was a fantastic way to bring our groups together in a collaborative effort.
I began to craft an idea and a program called Emerging Leaders, where we would each target 20 students in our buildings who were 8th graders who had the potential to be strong leaders. If we had a retreat and took the kids away from the school building, that we could really get them to focus for the day. And we mixed students from Garfield and Wilson in each section.
The day that we had with the students told us a lot about the students that are coming up through the next couple of years through the high school. Told us a lot about ourselves as well and how we view students.
And we talked with them about what kind of personal attributes they have now and how they can work on those that they need. Things such as integrity, honesty, completion of homework, involvement in the community.
Talking to people, I do that more often, like people if I just see walking on the street, if they're in trouble or need help. I've actually helped a few senior citizens with if they're just, if I'm at Walmart and I just see them struggling and pack up their groceries, just be like, oh yeah, I'll just put it in there.
I got to start telling people, helping them and help them get confidence in themselves and make them think that they could do this stuff and believe.
It's about knowing that our students have great ideas, and if we trust in them and we give them the power to be able to go through and do some of these great things, there's great results at the end.
They have a future ahead of them, and I think they realize that.
So now if somebody says something to me that kind of just to tear me down and tell me that I'm not good enough for something, it makes me want to work harder.
This program is good for me. It helps me trust other people and to do more teamwork.
If this program turns around one student, then it was worth it.
To have these students down here at the middle school level develop and have those leadership skills now, it's not just going to have an impact this year, but it's going to have an impact when the Garfield and Wilson students come together at the freshman school. And as they go on to the sophomore, juniors, and senior high, it's going to have an impact on the whole entire building as well.
I would like to say thank you to Harry T. Wilkes and the Hamilton Community Foundation for supporting this program, because these funds really did help make a difference in the lives of students.
The Science Carnival at Baden High School is in its third year. We involve our senior science students, which are either taking Chem 2 or Physiology 2.
We have, like fifth graders, all of us seniors have worked together to prepare this, and it's taken a few months to do. We've just tried to cover wide varieties of both with just science in general and then also science with the body, and give kids a new perspective on seeing how things work throughout the world.
The carnival consists of 17 different activities, and most of them range from some physiological ones where they're looking at center of mass, where they're examining visual changes and goofy gaits. And then we have some that are chemistry oriented, which would be acid-base, pH changes, Bernoulli's principle. We are looking at magnetic fields. We are looking at sound waves.
I didn't have that understanding or realm of understanding when I was their age, but this is definitely helping them. They get to have fun, get candy and prizes, and every kid loves that.
The seniors who are involved with these activities today truly enjoy science. They're, for the most part, going on into science majors.
I'm gonna actually major in biology, and then I'm hoping to go into physical therapy with that.
At the end of the day, when we go and take everything back up into the classroom, they sit down and they're utterly exhausted. And they look at me and we say, now you know what it's like to teach day in and day out.
And it's just been a great experience working with the kids and seeing how excited they get over the different experiments.
We'd like to say thanks just to Mr. Wilkes and the foundation for letting us conduct this carnival for the younger kids. It's impacted us as seniors in high school, and then it's made good positive impacts for the younger kids.
We would sincerely like to thank Mr. Harry T. Wilkes and the Hamilton Community Foundation for funding this activity today.
If we read the Newbery books, that was one way to guarantee that they would be books these kids had not read previously, because they would be brand new and they would still be in hardback. Over this period of time, they've gotten really, really good at discussing theme. And like they were saying today, they were very vocal about it. We read another book that had the same setting in the Great Depression. That was Turtle in Paradise.
2 of them are in the Great Depression, but it's all in a past time, I think. Yeah, and then there's One Crazy Summer, which is during the 60s, I think, but none of them are contemporary.
I would normally read fiction books and fantasy books, but then when I read these, it's all like nonfiction and historical fiction, which is a lot different for me. And now that we've done this, I'm really hooked into these books.
It was trying to make each book memorable and to have these lively discussions that it's 5th and 6th graders. So they benefit from each other that way. So they've all just kind of meshed together and become friends. It's been a very big hit. I communicate with the parents really regularly. And I think they really like that. They know what their child's reading and what period of history. And all in all, it's been one of the most enjoyable experiences I've ever had teaching. To have 25 kids for a reading teacher who absolutely love to read and get totally excited and worked up. They stop me in the hall all day long. Mrs. Dam, did you believe when such and such happened? Or, they've been complaining bitterly to me. You made us stop on page 12, and it's getting really exciting.
It's kind of hard because I like these books a lot, and I like reading past where we're supposed to.
To have that happen all day long, that's a reading teacher's dream. And it was all made possible by Mr. Wilkes and the grant.
Thank you for giving us these books, because I think kids should get more education, because a lot of people today don't really read a lot, and with this book club, you get to read and it's for fun. So I kind of like that.
I have students like 2nd through 4th grade and just saw a big learning gap with them. A lot of the things that we were trying to do that weren't as hands-on, they just weren't getting it. So I wanted to try and see if trying to make math become real through using concrete everyday objects. When I first start to introduce like subtractions, it's a hard concept. So just starting with basically counting backwards and things. Some of the things that the grant enabled me to purchase were like hands-on sorting. Some of my students are just beginning to understand colors and what they are, and getting to move through colors and shapes and get to actually manipulate and sort objects and tell the difference between what they are. The student that I have that's deaf, he has a hard time conceptualizing a lot of the skills that we try and introduce. So just for him to be able to manipulate things and look to the interpreter, look at me, and see that what he's doing makes sense. And you have to take the time and really, truly, want to get in deep and really understand what it is that helps them do their best. And I think having a hands-on approach is essential with these kids. It clearly is. And just giving them the opportunity to explore and really understand and get to see what's happening. And I think the best thing for me is that they think they're playing a game and they're learning. We have wonderful new technology that our district purchased for our multiple disabilities classroom, and the kids can interact. Basically, it's just an extension of my computer. The grant allowed me to purchase some programs that extend what we do. Just being able to have the freedom to identify the needs in my own classroom and make purchases for things that I know that aren't just going to sit around. They're going to be things that I'm going to use every single day has been, heartfelt. Seeing the kids, what they can do with these things is just, it's eye-opening because it makes me want more. It makes me really know that I'm going to work for this hard to be able to provide them everything that they need to be successful.
Mr. Wilkes and the Hamilton Community Foundation, we would like to say thank you. Thank you.
I started this back in 2009, and then this year I applied for the Wilkes grant, and they were nice enough that we could add another telescope to our collection of telescopes that hopefully we get with different filters and things like that. So Wilkes grant helped fund the program this year with some of the crafts and activities, and of course our solar scope that we can use through the day. This is what they call a personal solar telescope. It shows the hydrogen activity, so it filters out all the other light except the hydrogen. You can usually catch solar storms flaring out from the sun, and what they actually see when they're looking through it is a very bright little red ball. So I thought it would be nice because the other telescope only filters the white light, and they see the solar storms as little flecks, and this one will actually show the flares. Family astronomy nights, there are art activities that I do in the room while the children are waiting for telescope viewing, because a lot of times there's a long line. We have between 40 to 80 people here, and they walk home with something that's very useful. Like they went home last time with a moon phase finder and a journal to keep track of the moon. I think it was one of the early family astronomy nights. We had 2 community members plus my scopes plus Dean's scopes from the Cincinnati Observatory. It was sub-zero out, and we had 80 people that night standing in the cold looking at the Orion Nebula, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. They were just really tickled. A lot of people have this misconception because if you look back, I started doing research on this a while back, Le Coq Caves in France. They thought originally the bull room was just a hunting trophy kind of room until they started looking at this one particular bull, and they saw the 7 sisters up by the horn, which is a constellation. And so they superimposed the constellation to the picture. Then they learned that the entire room was a 15,000 year ago planetarium. People like Van Gogh did Starry Night. They're finding that that was astronomically correct. This summer, we're having the community out to view Saturn at Pyramid Hill. Thank you, Mr. Wilkes, for helping us do astronomical things in a down-to-earth way.
One of the biggest things that I've noticed since I've been teaching 2nd grade is that it's hard to hit science and social studies. We wanted to find an exciting way to increase their interest in science and social studies. So we came up with the idea of using the Magic Treehouse series. We had units such as weather, knights and castles, rainforests, polar bears, Titanic, the solar system, the American Revolution, and pyramids and mummies. With the Knights and Castles theme, we had them create a coat of arms.
We read The Night at Dawn, and then we heard that they made a coat of arms to tell each other apart in the battle. And then we made this project. The lion means courage, and then the color means hope and joy.
With every 2 to 3 chapters, kind of develop an activity that goes with it. We did an Arctic unit where they made dioramas of different animals from the Arctic.
I did the harp seal. We had to pick animals. My mom made this special dough. She cooked it. She didn't think it would work, but it did. So we made a mother harp seal and a baby harp seal. And then we had like these little fish at the bottom of it, and it looked really cool.
We created the Magic Tree House in one of our ELAs, which is the extended learning area that is in our pod. We also set up a bookcase in there with nonfiction books that were purchased with the money from the grant.
You're reading a fiction story, which I think that grabs their attention. But then in the middle of it, they're learning all of these really neat things about this topic. And by the time they're done, it's like, wow, I just learned all that stuff and I didn't even realize I did it. What I've noticed since we've been doing these in class is that they're going, and so many of them now are wanting to go to chapter books. And they're really taking the time to read them, taking them home with them and doing them for their reading logs. Just thankful to Mr. Wilkes and the foundation. We didn't really have access to the funds that we would have needed to get this started. It's been really exciting for our students this year, and we're just thankful we've had the opportunity.
The Wilson Gift Book Club, this is actually my first year. I missed Fitting last year for my health teacher, and she's like really an inspiration to me.
With the help of Mr. Wilkes, this is our 3rd year of existence.
We started off the year, I actually got almost 100 permission slips signed by parents, and our first 4 to 5 meetings, we had anywhere between 50 and 70 kids.
We were fortunately able to compete in 3 5Ks. The kids have become much more individually competitive. In our Kicks for Kids race, Jesse Vaughn placed 1st, David Church placed 2nd, Brandon McKinney placed 4th, and Dequan Warren placed 5th. The Red Brick Run, we had 2 girls finished 2nd and 3rd. Also in the Kicks for Kids, we had 1 3rd-place winner, Caitlin Owens. So the kids have been more concerned with their performance and PRing, which stands for personal record.
In the River Run race, I did 34 minutes and like 32 seconds. This year at the Big Blue 5K, I did 29.23 or something like that.
We've had a couple of kids that have commented that they've lost 15 to 20 pounds. I had one girl come up to me and say that since she started with Get Fit, she hasn't had any pop to drink for 121 days.
We bought a supply cart along with some resistance bands, some pedometers, and we also bought some extra t-shirts for our Get Fitters.
We are very fortunate to have this, and we're very fortunate to have had a 2-year span of Mr. Wilkes' support in this program and the Hamilton Community Foundation.
Thanks, Mr. Wilkes and the Hamilton Community Foundation
for helping Wilson stay fit.
Wilson Gift Book Club is a great way to get active and burn some calories and get some liquid awesome. That's what we call it.
So now we want to recognize our 2012 grant winners. And I say recognize rather than announce because they've known they had the grants since sometime in August and have probably already started their projects. It took us about 7 years, but we finally figured out that teachers like to start a new school year getting all their projects off to a start from the very beginning. And we weren't being helpful, not giving people money until October. So that we've now started awarding the grants in August. But we do want to recognize these folks. And please note that all the projects are described in your program. And if you don't have a chance to look at them tonight, take your program home and see some of the exciting things these folks are doing. So if you're one of our grant awardees, please stand in the audience as I call your name. And in the interest of getting everybody home on time, if you'll please hold your applause until I've read all the names. Carrie Pennington, Bridgeport Elementary, for Cooking Kids. Becky Turnbull, Brookwood Elementary, for Gardeners in Training. Allison Gettler and Kathy Siegel from Ridgeway Elementary for Class Act, Connecting Literature and Social Studies. Terry Haynes Toney, also from Ridgeway Elementary, for Empty Bowls. Lynette Flannery from Riverview Elementary, Let Me Tell You a Story. Lori Pearson, Beth Rudolph, Kelly Bill, Sarah Brown, and Kelly Lemieux from Riverview Elementary for Enhancing Traditions with Technology. Aaron Watkins, Wilson Middle School, Defend Your Castle Catapult Project. Let's give all these folks a hand.
It's now my pleasure to take you down memory lane with the help of TV Hamilton and recall the previous 9 Educator of the Year winners as we honor the 10th anniversary of our event.
Celebrate, dance to the music.
Our winner, Robin Michael.
I'm very taken. If you'll just give me a minute. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. It has been my experience that Hamilton City School educators all give and give, truly from their hearts.
Well, a couple months ago in August, I had a heart attack. Well, I made it to the hospital, and I told him no, I had to postpone the funeral because of all these engagements that I had coming up. I certainly didn't want to miss tonight. I mean, look at this wonderful assembly.
The 2004 Educator of the Year, Nancy Bonds.
I am used to talking to 25 children, kindergarten's children, so this is quite an experience for me when I look out in the audience and see bigger people than 5-year-olds. I feel truly fortunate to be living my childhood dream, which was to teach kindergarten. And each and every day, I walk into that classroom and I have children who are so excited to learn and be at school.
It's certainly my privilege to present the individual selected as the Educator of the Year in Hamilton, Ohio for the year 2005, Molly Mers.
I am blessed to have been a product with the Hamilton City Schools myself, and I am really fortunate to have the opportunity to give something back to my community, and that really thrills me to be here with a lot of the educators that influenced my life, a lot of the people that were on the school board when I was a student here, some former principals and assistant principals that have really made a difference for me. Pat Huth and Dennis Malone have really been an influence in my education career.
Hamilton's Educator of the Year for the year 2006, Kathy Wagenfield.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkes, for recognizing quality education throughout our city. Recently, I asked some 4th grade students what thoughts came to their mind when asked, "What do you want to be?" Their responses include many ands. I want to be a peacemaker and develop a cure for cancer. I want to be someone you can trust and help people, like a lawyer. I swear. I swear.
Is there any wonder why I get enthused about it? I mean, when I see teachers that are committed beyond what they're really paid to do, they really care about our youngsters. And that means they care about the community and the future of our country.
It is my distinct privilege to present Hamilton's Educator of the Year for 2007, Bill Huth.
I just am so honored to receive this. I feel really unworthy because, I mean, look at this room of all these fantastic educators. And, you know, my association with the Hamilton City Schools actually started much before '72 because I started out in 1954 in Mrs. Van Nortwick's class down at Pierce Elementary in kindergarten.
The winner of the Harry T. Wilkes Hamilton Celebrates Education Educator of the Year is Wanda Day.
I'm going to need more than a minute. You know, my husband told me to write something, and I'm like, I'm not going to get this. Oh, I'm not finished. You can sit back down. Mr. Wilkes, thank you so much for treating teachers like we're important. It just means so much to know that people back education. And I'm thinking maybe it might be a little easier if we just get like a joint checking account. And if we could do that, that'd be great.
Hamilton's 2009 Educator of the Year. Would Carrie Tregesser please return to the stage?
Wow, what a wonderful feeling. I am so blessed and honored to be accepting this award in front of such a hard-working group of educators, people that are truly dedicated to teaching kids. So often we worry about what a child will be tomorrow, but the dedicated teachers I work with also recognizes that these children are someone today.
The winner of the Educator of the Year Award is Kristen Yordan.
My most memorable moments in the classroom are not that as a teacher, but as a student. I have learned that the kids who drive you the craziest are usually the ones that need you the most. I have learned that people perform in accordance to our expectations, so we must set our standards high and expect nothing less than the best from ourselves and from those around us.
The winner of this year's Harry T. Wilkes Award is Becky Schaefer.
And in the middle of all this was a gentleman who was spotting the tumblers and helping the climbers and teaching kids how to throw balls and kick balls. And I said to my friend, who is that man? And they said, well, that's Mr. John. He's our gym teacher. From that point on, I knew that's what I had to do. I found my passion at 9 years old, and I never looked back. As educators, we don't do what we do because of awards, but it is gratifying to get a pat on the back every so often. Plus, I'm not going to lie, I love to win. Thank you.
I wanted to probably speak about a few things tonight, but I know somebody says, well, gee, Grey's Anatomy is on. Well, I'd rather have you look at Grey's Anatomy than mine.
Harry, I didn't know you were such a comedian. Very good, very good. Now I'm going to ask all of the 13 educator nominees to come forward and line up next to the stage. Over here, please. And as I call your name, please come up on the stage to be recognized and receive your gift. The first nominee is Christy Bailey from Crawford Woods Elementary. Lynn Baird, St. Peter in Chains. Sue Head, Bridgeport Elementary. David Hughes, Highland Elementary. Katie Jordan, Riverview Elementary. David Knapp, Hamilton Freshman. Dennis Malone, Hamilton High. Stacy Sandlin, Ridgeway Elementary. Robin Zeri, Fairwood Elementary. I knew her when she was really little. I loved her then, I love her now. Becky Turnbull, Brookwood Elementary. Lisa Wally, Wilson Middle School. This is Lynn Williams from Linden Elementary. And finally, Gail Zaz from St. Anne Catholic School. And now I'm going to introduce the 5 finalists with video clips representing their winning programs.
It is an exceptional educator who takes the time to find creative and intriguing ways to engage students, making class time fun, interesting, and full of energy. St. Peter and Chains nominates just such a teacher. Lynn Baird is a 31-year teaching veteran who is an advocate of expanding studies so students are better acquainted with subject material from personal involvement, utilizing investigation and communication.
She takes history and science out of the book, out of the textbooks, and puts it into the kids' hands.
Using cooperative learning in the classroom fosters students' thinking skills, empowers them to own their education, and encourages social interaction. Her creative teaching style develops students' creativity, imagination, confidence, talents, and personal strength.
It's something that I do every day. I have fun with it. I have energy for it. These guys bring me all the energy that I could possibly ever need.
Always an advocate for children, her classroom is a safe, relaxing space for students to bring their own gifts and talents, creating a home-like, nurturing environment.
And I wish that my child could have had Lynn as a teacher.
St. Peter and Chains appreciates Lynn's dedication to their school and their community, and so they are pleased to present her as their nominee for Educator of the Year. Highland Elementary is proud to nominate lifelong educator and friend David Hughes. Having taught music in the Hamilton School District for 35 years, David continues to extend an open invitation to all students to come into his music room. There, he provides a safe haven where students can talk, listen to music, play their instruments, or make new friends.
He truly loved kids, equal to or more so than a subject. And it showed in his music and how he interacted with students. Students wanted to come to music. They loved what he did. He just made it a great memory for those kids.
David's lessons are innovative and engaging. His students are learning and retaining valuable concepts while having fun and enjoying singing and playing music. What David's fellow teachers most admire is his heart for people and his dedication to his students and their music education. David always puts the school and others before himself.
I love Highland Elementary School. I love all the kids. I love all the teachers, and it's been a privilege to work for over 35 years in education.
His work ethic is admired by his colleagues as he spends countless hours planning and preparing students for numerous performances throughout the year. His indispensable music knowledge and his heart to serve are just two of the reasons that David Hughes was nominated for Educator of the Year by more than 75% of the staff at Highland. Congratulations, David. Going above and beyond the call of duty makes this educator stand out among the rest. Hamilton Freshman School is proud to nominate science teacher David Knapp, who has an extensive impact within the district and the community on a daily basis. David makes a positive and lasting impression upon his students, creating and fostering caring relationships, as well as cultivating an environment highly conducive to learning.
David Knapp is one of the most compassionate, caring, and competent educators that I've had the privilege to work with in recent memory.
This educator has made it a personal goal to make himself approachable, accessible. Greeting and personally welcoming each student into the classroom allows for conversation about after-school events or weekend activities.
Coming in and being with these kids every day, it's such a profound experience. I'd like to think that I'm teaching them as much as they're teaching me every day.
David believes establishing relationships aids in the overall growth of a student, and that a teacher should be much more than just a facilitator of knowledge. His role is to encourage students to become people of high character with strong work ethics.
His ability not only to connect with students, but his pioneering use with the work of technology in order to connect students to their learning and to have access to material and content and educational experiences not only during the school day, but once they get home as well. And his work has really helped students excel and students grow in his science courses.
A natural-born leader, this educator extends himself across many aspects of the school. These are just some of the many reasons that Hamilton Freshman School is so proud to nominate David Knapp. In a school filled with devoted, enthusiastic staff and teachers, there is one who shines above the rest. Her positive attitudes towards people, teaching, and life have made this math and science teacher a school-wide teaching icon and inspiration. Brookwood Elementary is honored to present Becky Turnbull as their nominee for the Educator of the Year Award. Becky has the same enthusiasm after teaching 12 years that she had in her first year in the classroom.
Becky is the most enthusiastic teacher that I know. She is a calming presence to every staff member and every child in this building.
Becky knows how to make science come alive for her students and makes it exciting for them to learn, starting each class with yoga to focus the mind and body for learning. She encourages her students to be kind to the earth and gives them daily evidence as to why it is important. She truly has an inspiring personality and organized the support she needed to realize the dream she had of the creation of a school garden.
I'm thrilled to live and work in a city that supports character and gardens and growing.
For her professional colleagues, working with this amazing individual is an honor and a privilege.
There is nobody more worthy for this award than Becky.
For that reason, Brookwood Elementary nominates Becky Turnbull for their Educator of the Year. This Educator of the Year nominee views her classroom as an open forum for expression. Teaching art is not only an occupation, but it is what she loves and is passionate about. Wilson Middle School proudly nominates Lisa Wally. She is an innovator who brings insight, positivity, and humor into all her classroom projects. The connection Lisa makes with her students gives her the opportunity to encourage them to raise their performance level in other academic content areas.
How can I work this in the classroom? What educational gain can I get the kids out of this? And we tied it into character. What is a superhero? And this is what I was talking to when we won the National Character Award. He was interested that I've done several lessons with the national character and trying to tie that in. I tried to bring in many different things. It's not a crafts class.
Her efforts motivate art students to achieve more than they think is possible. This outstanding nominee's work can be seen in the hallways and offices of Wilson Middle School, where hours and hours of time were spent creating intricate paintings for students and staff to enjoy. Lisa understands that middle school students just want to have fun, so she planned a flash mob dance for an assembly and helped produce an unforgettable teacher dance video for a special presentation. The best teachers make their students believe in themselves.
I believe that if I had had Mrs. Wally as an art teacher when I was in middle school, that I would see myself as an artist today.
Each child can say, "I am an artist."
Okay, this is the end of the parade. What we all came for, I think. And honestly, I don't know. I think there's only one or two people in the room that know. So I'd like to announce the winner now of the 2012 Harry T. Wilkes Hamilton Celebrates Education Educator of the Year Award. And it's in this thing right here. We had to scrape the mayonnaise off. Lynn Baird, St. Peter and Chains. microphone now.
Oh my gosh.
There
Boy,
we go.
you're right, that light is bright. Oh my goodness. This is just, what fun. Thank you so much. I kind of feel like the one person on the video that said, you know, here I stand in a room full of amazing educators. Why am I here? You know, why am I up here? And I did jot down a few things. I was advised to do that. But thank you so much. I feel very honored, very gratified, and very fortunate to be the one standing here. And I want to say thank you to the entire room full of you who do what I do every day because we love it. And I just want to say thank you and keep on doing what you're doing because we're doing good things together. So that's just how I feel about it. Let's see. I would also like to thank, and I would be remiss if I didn't do this, Mr. Harry T. Wilkes. I truly, truly appreciate all that you do for education in this city. And I also want to thank the Hamilton Community Foundation for all the things that they bring to our city and all of the programs that they support. What a tremendous, tremendous support system we have in this town. And you're a huge part of it, and I want to thank you for that. I'm also grateful tonight for my parents. I don't know why. I mentioned this on the video and they cut it out. Maybe I'm not supposed to bring it up again, but I don't know. My parents were Al and Dot, and I have to attribute, they were my first teachers. And they kindled a love for learning in me that has never gone out. And I truly owe them a huge thank you. And then also my husband, John, who's was a 37-year teacher in the Hamilton City Schools. Our kids grew up with two teachers as parents. We had great summers together, but the rest of the year was kind of hard on them. So we really, I want to thank Leslie and Becky, our daughters, as well, for their encouragement and for the enthusiasm that they always brought to the new ideas that I would present to them first. And then they go, yeah, Mom, that sounds good. Go with that, you know. So if it worked on them, I figured it would work on my students as well. So thanks, girls. And thank you also to my niece and nephews who aren't here tonight, but I bring them up because they were some of my earliest teaching opportunities. I had the good fortune in my family to have a great big brother who was 12 years older than I. And he started his family when I was only 9 years old. So I got lots of practice on kids, and those kids provided me lots of opportunities to teach as we spent time together and grew together as well. And they also added to my enthusiasm. I personally learn best by doing and by experiencing and by questioning. And I find life to be very exciting and a whole lot of fun. And all this is played out in my classrooms. It's kind of like our winter last year. You know, kids are fun. They just plain are. And who wouldn't want to get up every morning and go have a bunch of kids to play with for a day? You know, it's like, oh, and they pay me too? This is great, you know? So, but it plays out in my classrooms because I just look at my students and say, okay, let's just pitch in, explore, and see what we can learn together. And I truly find that to be the way that my classroom tends to work the best. And a devotional book that I use recently offered the thought, I want to, and this is a quote, I want to remain teachable for the rest of my life, daily applying new ideas and letting life be a real adventure. And there you have it. That's my teaching motivation, and that's my philosophy as I spend my days in the classroom. I understand that these students are not my kids, okay, but I treat them as if they could be. And I think that's kind of the rapport that we have that makes things special on a daily basis. I love my work, my students, and their families. And God has truly blessed me richly through my students, my colleagues, not only at my school, but all of us gathered in the room here through all the years. And this is number 32 that I'm working on right now. Again, thank you, Mr. Wilkes, the Hamilton Community Foundation, and also I'd like to thank especially Erin Mahan. I know that you just literally ran yourself ragged pulling all of this together, and I truly appreciate your graciousness through all of it. And thank you for a wonderful evening and how this is, and all the publicity that would appear in the papers as well. So thank you for all your efforts. I'd also like to thank my previous principal, Charlotte Sharon, for starting this nomination process last year. She approached me and I said, "Are you kidding? I'd love to," you know. And little did I know the amount of work that goes into this, but I might have said something different then, I'm not sure. But no, it was great fun. And I'd also like to especially thank a couple of our PTO moms who are some of the best writers I think I've ever met. I read the thing and I said, "Who is this about?" You know, I was like, wow, thanks. But that would be Joanne Schutte and Sharon Nolker. And I really, truly appreciate their getting the information in so that I could be standing here right now tonight representing our profession and my school. So I truly am grateful, and to God be the glory, and thank you so much. I appreciate it. And by the way, I have to be honest, I do like to win too.
I got the best job in the room. I was the first to know. I'd like to take time now to recognize and thank and ask you all to thank them as well, and ask them to stand. The Harry T. Wilkes Committee and the judging committee members, if you could stand, please, and be recognized. They put in a lot of work to make this evening special. Also, many thanks to the Courtyard by Marriott for serving us tonight, to TV Hamilton for producing the videos, and also recording this evening's show, which will be on TV Hamilton. And to Katie Braswell and Erin Mahan from the Hamilton Community Foundation for planning everything. Thank you so much. You made it easy for me. So a little story. In ancient times, a king decided to find and honor the greatest person among his subjects. A man of wealth and property, a healer, a man of wisdom, one with knowledge of the law, an accomplished businessman, and many other successful people were brought back to the palace to be evaluated. The task of choosing was overwhelming and very, very difficult. And finally, the last candidate stood before the king, a woman with white hair and eyes shining with the light of knowledge, understanding, and love. And the king asked, "Who is this, and what has she done?" And the king's aide answered, "You've seen and heard from all the others. This is their teacher." And the people applauded. And everyone, including the king, rushed to her to show her how much they honored her. Good night. Be safe.